do you stay in touch with yourself and be content with loving yourself, Casey? Hello.
Hello, welcome back, or hopefully welcome back. But
Yeah.
if you're new here, welcome. This is Let's Talk About Anything, LTAA. This is our third episode. I can't believe it's episode 3 already.
I know, we're so excited.
I know it's been really awesome just being able to talk to Rose about a lot of different things, and I'm so excited to talk about this episode's topic because I feel like Rose and I, this is like our main topic of things that we talk about.
Yes,
So we're gonna
very
have a
true.
lot. We're gonna have a lot to say. So if you are new here, my name is Casey. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm 22.
My name is Rose. My pronouns are she, her, and I am 21.
So let's talk about anything is basically just a podcast where we talk about anything. A lot of things that we talk about involve like taboos or things that you might like not be comfortable talking to your friends or family about. Um, just things that a lot of people feel aren't discussed enough, and we thought we would chat with each other about them and maybe give out some advice. Hopefully, it's all been good advice so far. I think it has been, but
Yes, and also just like reassuring you that you're not the only one who is thinking about these things, and yeah, that we're gonna dive into them.
Before we get started, I did want to talk a little bit about the audio quality in this episode and the past few. We were going to record together, but at the time of recording, it's still uh, COVID and things like that. So, in the interest of like health and safety, we are apart right now and we're recording via Discord. So, we are online with one another, and unfortunately, I'm not home in my apartment where I have a little bit of a better audio setup. I am in my family home, and my entire family is home right now, and it's kind of around dinner time. So I'm hoping the audio is okay. Um, but we do have plans to get better.
Yes, absolutely. We will be upgrading slowly but surely. So look out for us with that.
Hey, so without further ado, I'm so excited to talk about this topic. It's like my favorite thing to talk about.
Me too.
So if you didn't read the title of this, for some reason we're going to be talking about like romance this episode since it is our February episode and this is the time of year to get all cozy and romantic and
Lovey
just
dovey.
lovey-dovey. Yep. um so the first thing that we wanted to talk about was love languages because it's really important to know your own love language and other people's love languages in order to connect with people better, not even like just your significant other, but your friends and family as well, just to make really nice, healthy connections with one another.
Yes, I agree completely. Because everything that comes along with a love language is how you process things, how you process love, how you react to love, how you can contribute to love, you know?
And it's romantic love and platonic love. They're
Yes,
both so
absolutely.
important. So traditionally there are like 5 love languages, and they are words of affirmation, which is basically like being told positive things about yourself or the things that you're doing, so words of encouragement. Then there's physical touch, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's also acts of service, which is basically like if someone does something for you, or it can go the other way around. Like if you do something for someone else because you love and care for them, that's what that could be like. If someone made you breakfast in the morning,
Mm.
or if someone like pumped your gas for you. That could be like an act of service. Then there's quality time, which again is also pretty self explanatory. And the last one is giving gifts. So that one's also um, in the name. So those are the
Yes.
5 different love languages, and we actually we took a quiz before we started to see which ones we fell under.
Yeah.
So Rose, would you like to talk a little bit about your love languages and like what that means for you?
Sure. And also I just wanted to put in here, we will put the link in the description of the test that we took, and if you want to do specific research on the different love languages. Um but mine include, well, basically they rank them. So I'm going to rank them from my most prominent one to my least prominent one. So mine goes quality time, which for me quality time is just I excuse me. I am very I don't know, very time oriented, I guess you could say. So when I'm spending a lot of amount of time with someone, it means a lot to me. Me and Casey would have like week long sleepovers or
Yes.
hangs where we would leave like every other night if we could. Like we used
Mhm.
to do that all the time. So that is a good example for me. Physical touch is my second one. I'm a very touchy person. Clearly right now with COVID not as much, because we're trying to protect people out here. But yeah, that's another one. For me, I'm a big hugger. Casey could tell you that.
Absolutely.
Um yeah. So then my next one would be acts of service. For me, I feel like that is just, for example, like if I'm having like a really, really rough day and like my significant other or even just my friend like brought me my favorite drink or, like took the time to like pay attention to what I like to cheer me up or something like that. That's
Mhm.
kind of what it means for me. Um, then mine would be words of affirmation. I'm very big, if you haven't listened to the last two, I feel like you would know this by now, but um I'm very big on communication. So hearing how someone feels and them also communicating that back to me is very, very big for me. Um and lastly, at the lowest percent, 7% would be receiving gifts. If anything, I like giving gifts. And I'm pretty sure that's the only portion that gave me that 7. So, but yeah, I personally I don't really love receiving gifts cuz I feel like I'm bad at reacting. Um, but yeah, so that would be why it's the lowest on my list. But how about you, Casey?
Okay, well, I'll go through it the same way that you went through it and rank my top and then my lowest and explain a little bit about how I feel about them.
Okay.
So, my top is also quality time. I think it's I am not a super outgoing person, but I am a social person, like if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah, so like with the people I love, like you and like my brother, my family and my boyfriend, it's really nice and it makes me feel valued when like you set aside some time to like hang out with me, like play a game with me, record a podcast with me, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Um so that just makes me feel valued and I really enjoy like uh again with COVID face to face sometimes isn't an option, but normally like face to face like just hangout time. So that is my top one, quality time.
Nice.
My second one I think would be acts of service. Um I put my quiz results away, so I don't have the list at the moment, but I'm
It's
going
okay.
off of memory. My
Okay.
second one is act of service. Um because I think, like what you said, Rose, people paying attention to the things that I need, or want, and then being able to do that for me is like a really nice help because it shows me that you're like paying attention to me, and that you like me enough to help me out with something. So, like for example, um, I'm such an emotional person. Oh my goodness! But my brother went to Wawa to get gas, right? And I was like, "Okay, like, be safe, uh, come back soon." And when he got back from Wawa, he actually, came into my room, and my brother's not a very talkative person, so he didn't say anything, but he got me, like, my favorite food from Wawa, and I didn't even ask for it, and it just, like, it made me tear up a little bit because I was like, "Oh, he does like me." Um so that's definitely one for me is, and I guess in that way, like, he did buy me my favorite food, so that's like giving gifts, but giving gifts is not in my top. It's
Yeah, no,
closer to the
I
bottom for
relate to
me.
that.
My next one I think would be words of affirmation because, I think it's really important to hear from others when you're doing like a nice job, and like getting words of encouragement is really nice. For me personally, it makes me feel a little bit better about how I'm acting towards others and like what I'm doing, and seeing that other people are noticing what I'm doing and appreciating it is just really nice to me. And it helps me be a better me. Um
Yes, I agree with that.
Then I have next would be physical touch. It's kind of low on the list for me personally because like my family isn't very touchy-feely. Like we don't really like hug each other that often or like say I love you like verbally. So like physical touch is like lower on my list. Not saying that I hate it, but it's definitely not something that I grew up used to. But I do love a good hug. I've been wanting to hug people so bad lately, but COVID, I can't.
I know, it's
It's
rough, it's
so
rough.
hard.
It is.
Um, so physical touch is kind of like lower on my list, but I do like it. And then my last one, which it's probably on par with yours, Rose, is the gifts one. I also
Yeah,
really, really like giving gifts, but getting gifts is like,
stressful.
overwhelming a
Yes,
little bit
it's
because I
so
think I'm the
stressful.
same way. I think it's really hard to, like, react in the way that people are expecting you to.
I know.
Um,
That's our
and
anxiety.
yes, it honestly is. And it's not that I don't appreciate the gifts because, like, I don't care what the gift is, just the fact that you thought of me when you got it for me or you made it for me is amazing, but
Yes, that's how it is with me.
I have such a hard time, like, with my facial expressions and maybe, like,
Yeah,
sometimes my tone of voice, and then I'll
yeah.
think about it all day, like, "Oh my god, they probably think I hated their gift because my face didn't show it or something," you
Yes,
know?
and I think that I feel that way too because, like, it's not necessarily I think I feel more pressure around, like, holidays, birthdays, like, that kinda stuff, but if it's, like, a on a whim, like, just doing it because they know you'll love it, like, on a normal day, I think that's more meaningful to me, if
I
that makes sense.
agree. No,
So
I
it's
totally
more about the
understand.
thought and care put into it, so
For sure. That is absolutely true. I'm glad we're, like, on the same page with that.
yes,
That's
we absolutely are on that
especially
one.
especially in the winter with lots of our holidays being around this time.
Yes,
Um, so those are like our love languages. And like Rose said, the link to the quiz will be in this description. But I wanted to talk about why love languages are important for other people to know, like about you. Um, because it's really hard sometimes to communicate, especially in a platonic way. Like I just said with my brother, especially with siblings and people who are like close like that but don't show it often. It's important to know other people's love languages and how it affects you because they might be showing their love for you in a way that you don't see because it's not your top love language, you know?
yes, no, I agree with that completely.
Because it's
Um,
not that they aren't loving you, they're just loving you in a different way, and you might not be able to see it because that's not how you love other people.
yes, I agree completely. It's like kind of comparing like people who use their phone a lot and people who don't. if there's like a couple or something with one who is always on their phone and always active on social media and stuff like that, and one that's completely not, sometimes like those things can get like crossed, like because the one will expect texts all day and this all day and that all day because that's how they want to receive their love. The other one maybe prefers quality time in person more because they're not
Um,
on their phone,
Rose, I'm just gonna
so it's like if that analogy makes sense. Oh, wait.
yes, your audio is a little like crackly, so if you wanna like
Okay. I'll
fix
pop
that
out and
real
come back
quick,
in. Yeah.
and then you can continue what you were
Okay.
saying. Sometimes we have these technical difficulties, but it builds character for our show, I think.
Hello?
Hello, that sounds so much better.
Okay, cool. Um, what was the last thing you heard before it was crackly?
I heard most of what you were saying. It was a little robotic. So you were saying
Okay.
how about the couple who might be on their phone and one is expecting texts and stuff like that all day, but the other one is expecting like face-to-face conversation.
Yes, yes. So like that's just like an example of like how love languages can differ, but how it can also create kind of tension sometimes because if
Absolutely.
someone's needs or expectations aren't met in a certain way, it may lead to confusion or
I actually
upset
have a good
feelings.
story about something that's, like, really similar to that.
Okay.
So my boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 years now,
Mm.
and, I'm still at school, so he has his own, like, home, and I'm somewhere else at school, so it's a little bit of a long distance relationship. Um One thing that is, like, a pet peeve of mine that he does is he'll call me, which I love it. I love getting calls from him because quality time is one of my top love languages. But while he's on the phone with me, he'll play video games at the same time. And my love language is quality time, and I want that time to be, like, more dedicated to, like, spending time with me and talking to me, like, directly without any, like, outside, uh interference, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But his love language is, bringing me into the things that he likes to do, and he loves to play games, so just the fact that he called me while he was playing games is something that's important to him, that he valued me enough to talk to me while he was playing games, you know?
Yes, I totally
So, as
understand
much as it annoys the hell out of me,
that.
I still appreciate it because he did make the time to call me.
Yes, yeah,
Those
I
are
totally
not
understand
like,
that.
I love him dearly, they're not my favorite phone calls, but I still appreciate them.
Yes, I totally understand that because I feel like I'm a little bit a mix of both of you
Yeah,
because I am really big on quality time, but also like if I can just like do my own thing, but also be in the presence of someone I love, I also really enjoy that. Like even if
for
we're not
sure.
saying anything, like for some, like I feel like we get like that too. Like if we're like really comfortable and we've been hanging out
Mhm.
for like over 48 hours, we'll just be chilling. And I love
Yeah.
that just as much as if we were out and doing something.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Because 'cause I've definitely been over your house, like, on those week-long, like, sleepovers,
yeah,
and, like,
we're just
halfway through it, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna bring a book," because I know at some point, like, you're gonna play, like, video games or something, and I'm like, "Ah,
yeah.
I don't wanna do that." So then I'll just, like I'll sit on the couch with you, and then
Yes,
you're playing your
yes,
games, and I'm reading my book, and it's perfect.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And
Mhm.
I think that's how we get like in the middle.
Yeah, for sure.
But knowing that about each other is very beneficial because you're not just like, am I boring her? Like
Right. It's like, "Oh,
it's
they're
like no,
ignoring
we're
me."
just
And
chilling.
that's not
Yeah.
what it is. It's not that
Yes.
you're ignoring the other person. But for sure, it's really, really, really important to not only know your own love language, but other people's as well, so that there's not, like, unnecessary miscommunication.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yes. So, you should let us know what your love languages are in the comments, and, explain a little bit why, because I love talking about love. It's so fun for me.
Yes, and if you
And
relate to anything that we've said, like our little nitpicks, then please
yes.
let us know.
Yeah, we would love to read about it for sure.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
like Rose said in the last episode, we respond to comments, so
Yes.
it would be very nice to see. But
Yes, absolutely.
I think like talking about the love languages opens up a great opportunity for us to share some stories of our own.
Oh, goodness. I think
um
you should start with this one.
with with your story or my stories?
Whatever story you would like.
Oh, okay. So, we have a little bit of an outline for all of our podcasts, and our outline says, romantic experiences, good, bad, funny, question mark. So, um, I'll start off with some good ones,
Okay.
just to like set the bar here.
Yeah.
I will tell like my first date experience with my boyfriend because I think that
Oh, that's a
was
good one. Oh, that's let's do that one.
I
This is my favorite,
okay.
guys.
Yeah. I need to set some backstory. So I was in an okay relationship. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, but it was a bad breakup. And I was talking to Rose and a couple of our other friends, and I was like, I don't know how to get out of this funk. And I am not the kind of person to be like just like talking to people for the sake of talking to people. I like to settle down with like people and give them my own like divided attention. But Rose is like, you should get Tinder. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. She's like,
Oh,
you
also, I was freshly single as well, I
yes, and
believe,
you
at
were
this point,
right, and you
so
were like, it's so
we
much
were
fun.
both
I'm
like, "Let's
talking to
do
so
it."
many people. Yeah, and so Rose convinced me to get Tinder, and I was like, okay, I guess. So I set up my Tinder profile, and I was talking to a couple people, and um, oh my God, people can be boring.
Yeah, tell
People
me
can be
about it.
so boring. But I met this one guy and we had like a really long good conversation over like Tinder message, and we were talking for a couple of weeks, and he was like, how would you feel if we went to get dinner sometime? And me being afraid of commitment like I am sometimes was like, um, how about we get lunch instead? And my thought process there was, if we get lunch and I don't like it, it's less rude of me to leave during lunch than dinner, you know?
That's true, that's true.
So I was like, let's get lunch instead. And we were like trying to pick places that were like kind of in the middle. And he didn't tell me this until like a month into dating. The place that we ended up going, the restaurant that we ended up going to was like 10 minutes from my place, and it ended up being like 40 minutes from him. And I was like, that is not the middle. But he was like, I really wanted to meet you. So we went there. And it was actually a grilled cheese restaurant. It was pretty great. Not very romantic, but hey, it was great. Um,
You were getting
he
lunch, it's okay.
we were getting lunch and he did not get a grilled cheese. He ended up getting chicken wings and he hated them. He said they were really gross. Um, well, anyway, we got there around noon, and I had somewhere to go because, of course, if you're meeting someone off Tinder, you should let your friends know where you're going and maybe have like plans set up for after the date
Mm,
so that, you can go and visit people afterwards in case it doesn't turn out to be a good situation. People are expecting you, you know? So
yeah.
I had plans for after this date. I had plans for like 6 o'clock. I was gonna go play some D&D with some friends. And, so my boyfriend and I got there at noon. I put my phone face down because I was trying not to be rude. I put my phone face down. All of a sudden, I look out the window. It's dark out.
Mm,
We were there for 5 hours. I don't know how we didn't get kicked out because we didn't order like any other drinks or any other food. Um, I think the waitress was like, "Oh, they're vibing. Let's leave them alone."
mhm.
So that's one of my favorite, like, love stories, I guess. It's just really nice to reflect on, like, how much of a connection that we had and that we're still together. at the moment. At today that we're filming, recording. It's great. So, so
I love it.
that's like
Well,
one of my top good stories. What about you, Rose?
um, hmm. Probably my first like official date um with a ex of mine actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think this will probably go down in history as one of like the best ones just cuz it was just good, you know. It was one of those dates that made me realize like what kind of attention and love I was worth, you know? Um, cause it was a first date, so I wasn't really, you know, expecting much.
Right. Right.
Um, and so basically it started in I'm not gonna give too much background on the person because that's history. But
That's fair.
um but basically we ended up going to a coffee shop. I played the same kind of like safe role, you know. I
Yep.
was like, okay. I was like, I had told my mother, Mom, please never listen to this. I told my mother that I was going to my friend's house.
Oh,
Um,
I totally lied on my date too.
oh, it's okay. Yeah, I was literally like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to my friend's house. And also to a friend that she knows I would be there for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
So I, you know, go to my friends clearly. Um,
Mhm.
we ended up going to Starbucks. So we're, you know, drinking coffee, talking.
Okay, so we had a glitch for a second. I don't entirely know what just happened there, but we're ready to keep on rolling.
Yes.
We stopped on Rose's cute love story. So, Rose, if you'd like to start over that story from the beginning just to make sure that we get all of it, go for it.
Okay. So basically, I was going on a date, with a ex of mine. Um, and I did the same kind of thing. I did the play it safe. I went to go get coffee. That's what I agreed to. Again, very short commitment. Literally going for coffee could be 15 minutes if I really wanted it to. So I was like, okay, that works.
Yep.
So we go, we're talking, and like this person didn't even like leave eyesight with me the whole time. Like we were just like connected the whole time. And fully invested. Like it didn't feel like it was a one-sided conversation, which I was really worried about. Not necessarily worried cuz I can't do that. I can talk for days, but but if it was one-sided, I think I would just be like, "Okay, get me out of here."
Right.
But so we keep talking and um then we end up having to leave because Starbucks was closing.
Oh.
Same kind of thing. I
Uh-huh.
think we met at like noon and Starbucks was closing. Starbucks was open very late at the time because it was pre-COVID.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, well, let's go and go to Wawa, get some snacks. And so we go get some snacks. Then we're sitting in my car, we're just talking. And then my car dies
No. Oh, no.
because I had left the back light on while we were talking.
Oh, Rose.
Yeah, and I also had a very old battery. So
Yikes.
then I'm like, "Oh, crap, like, I can't call my mom because my mom thinks I'm with my friend."
Right.
And my mom is usually the person to call in those situations. So I was
Mhm.
like, "Well, what do I do?" So then I'm just going down the list of people who I know are around in the area because I'm freaking out. Like, this is a first date and my car dies. Like, are you kidding me? And keep in mind, I had picked up the person also. So,
Oh, no, I didn't realize
yes,
that. Oh god.
yes, yes. So made it even worse. So yeah, so that happens. And then I'm like, okay, we're talking and they go, like my brother who I live with like doesn't live that far away. Like I could call him. And I'm like, oh gosh. So then I'm like, you know what? Sure. Why not? First date, I meet your brother. Sounds great to me. So then that happens, whatever. We fix it all. And then even after that monstrosity, we go and get dinner.
Wow, look at you.
Yes. So then we went and got dinner, somewhere completely different, and then, we ended up going back to their house, talking in the car for many more hours, and then I ended up going home, I don't even know what time. But it was one of those dates where I'd never been on one, as intricate as that, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, and the person I was there with was very willing to be vulnerable and very willing to listen. And it was just the first time I ever really realized that I could get that much love and attention, like just to me.
Oh, I
Um,
understand.
Yeah, and I was also, recently getting over a very rough and messy, breakup at the time,
Yeah. Mhm.
so it all really it was one of those things that really opened my eyes, and I'm very, like, thankful and happy that I got to experience it, even though I'm not with the person anymore.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that'll always stick in my mind.
Oh, that sounds really sweet. That sounds like a love story that I would read in one of my books.
Right?
It's so nice. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm trying to think if I have any the next little bullet point on our outline is like if we have any like bad or funny
I know, I'm
stories,
trying
and
to
I'm
think.
trying to think about it because I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember
Yeah,
any, like, bad experiences."
yeah, I'm trying to I mean, I've definitely, had some weird ones, but, um,
We like weird.
yeah, I just, like, I don't know, I feel like I have had a lot of situations, with our generation specifically just lacking the ability to want to get to know people and to want to, like,
Uh-huh.
be vulnerable with people.
Yes.
So I guess, like, that would technically be considered as something bad because I just feel like, people don't take it as seriously and people aren't as willing, um
To put in the work.
yeah, yeah, so that's
I
definitely something that I bring up a lot to people, honestly.
mm.
I talk about it a lot because, being a single woman, I and also in the middle of COVID, to forget dating, but, talking to the people who I have talked to, romantically or not, it's it's just very, hard to find someone who wants genuine connection, and I think that's
Yeah.
something that will hopefully evolve, but I think it all kinda stems from, our generation being brought up on social media and all of that kinda
Yeah,
thing,
it's
like,
all
they can
about,
talk
like, a
through a screen, and
right, it's all
they
about
could show you off if
appearances.
they want, yeah. but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, if the genuine connection isn't there, it doesn't really mean much. So,
Right.
um,
And,
so yeah,
like,
so
in
I've been battling with
addition
that recently.
mm. So, a lot of people when I talk about my relationship, a lot of people our age specifically, um, I think it's, like, our age and older, there's some weird trust issues that people have, and
Yeah, I agree
they're
completely.
like so to set a little bit of background, I live with 2 roommates while I'm at school, and they're both guys, and a lot of people are like, "Well, how does your boyfriend feel about that?" I'm like, "My boyfriend was so excited about it." He's like, "Oh, man, I have 2 new dudes to hang out with when I come over." Like,
Mhm.
he was really excited. He's like, "Yeah, new friends." Um, so, like, it's like, trust, honestly, is such a big thing, and then, the communication aspect as well, because, I'm still in school, but my boyfriend is in the workforce and has been in the workforce since we started dating. Like, he has a full-time job, he has a salary, he has a mortgage, and, we're just at slightly different parts in our lives. So, sometimes the communication isn't, like, always there. Like, I can go sometimes, like, a week or 2 without even talking to him because we're just, like, on slightly different levels, but it's not a problem in our relationship because when we talk about the things that have bothered us or the things that we wanna keep doing for each other, like,
Yeah.
um, it's just really important to set your own boundaries and, like, expectations, together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Mhm. Yeah, so, we got a little derailed there. I don't know if
It's okay.
I was just I was no, not like in a bad way. I think we that took a really good turn.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree.
I was just thinking, like, in the back of my mind while we were saying all of this, I was like,
You're
"Oh,
like, "What am
man."
I saying?"
No, not like, what am I saying? It was like, "Oh, man, do I have, like, a good story to tell?" Because I really like listening to stories, but
No, I agree, I agree.
ooh, actually, I was just thinking about this, because I visited my boyfriend a couple weeks ago after we were both able to quarantine well enough, and it was the first time I had seen him in a little while, and he went to kiss me, but I couldn't stop smiling, so he just got my teeth. Um, so I it's pretty bad, I know. Um, but that reminded me of my first ever kiss, and I think those are some
What?
good stories to share.
Oh god.
I'll share mine first since I brought it up.
Okay.
Um, so in high school, I didn't have my first kiss until I was 17. Um, and I'm 22 now, but I didn't have my first kiss until I was 17 because I am so anxious about everything. And
Yeah.
also, like, my family, like, isn't really a family that likes to have people over all the time. So, like, I would always go out somewhere with my significant others, and I don't really like PDA all that much, so I always kind of kept my distance. But the one time I invited my ex, my boyfriend at the time, over, and they were leaving, and they asked if they could kiss me, and I was like, "Yeah," and it was, like, very actually really romantic, like, it was kind of foggy out, and it was raining, and we were standing on my porch, and it felt like a movie, but I couldn't stop smiling, it was so bad, and he kept getting my teeth, and I was like, "Ugh." And I always remember that with, like, slight like, embarrassment, like, it was pretty bad, but also, like, it was kinda cute, so it's okay. But
That's
I
so
think about that a
funny.
lot, I was like, "Oh, that was so bad."
That's so funny. I oh god. So, I was telling this story the other day, actually. Um, my first kiss was basically, I was young. I think I was 15 or 16. Um, newbie in high school. And I inherited this boyfriend. So
What do you mean inherited? What does
I
that mean?
like, I don't know how it happened. It just happened. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why that was the word that came to mind. Anyways, so I acquired, that's the word I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Acquired. I really know how to speak English, guys.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So I acquired this boyfriend, and he always wanted to hang out with me, and I couldn't because I was so young. Same kind of thing. I like not necessarily like not having people over, but I just didn't really know. I hadn't communicated to my parents that I was talking to the opposite gender.
Uh-huh,
So I didn't really
yeah.
know how to bring it up. So
Right.
I just was afraid. So I just had to sneak around basically. So
Gotcha.
I I'm so stupid. This is actually really funny. So basically I decided to tell him to come over, but to come into the neighborhood next to mine so
Oh,
that we
no.
could walk around and hang out together without having to go into my actual house, nor even close to my house.
Right?
So there's also this little trail in the woods. So I took him there. We hung out, he brought me snacks, whatever. And but the best part is my mother had a friend over. So when said boyfriend was dropped off, him and I were walking around, and then we were about to cross the road, and my mom's friend pulled out of our neighborhood
Oh, no.
and saw me running away with the boy
Oh my gosh. Like,
because I'm an
physically
idiot.
actually
Like,
running away?
actually running away, like
Oh my
running
god.
into the woods trying to not be seen.
Wow.
So, whatever. I was like, "She didn't see us," but whatever. So then we're hanging out. At this point, I'm like, I'm dead anyways, so I'm just gonna keep hanging out with him. So I he whatever, we're hanging out, and then I'm like, "Okay, you need to leave, like, call your mom." So 'cause I got sick of him. So then we're
Wow.
walking, yeah. I was just well, I was just nervous. I was,
No,
like,
I
kinda like,
understand.
"Go home, like, just go home, cause I need to go home and get screamed at now."
Yeah.
So, I walk him over to this field, this open field where his mom is gonna meet us. And so then his we see the van, and then he stops me. It's pretty romantic, pretty cute, but, his
Oh,
mom
no.
is right there.
Oh, no, that's so awkward.
So and then he had to walk all the way across the rest of the field to get to his mom.
That's really funny.
So, yeah, so it was a little
Yeah.
rough, um, but funny nonetheless. And then I got home and my mom was like, "You got anything to tell me?"
Oh,
And I was like, no." And she's like, "Oh, that's weird because my friend said something."
wow.
And I was like, so yeah.
That's
So
so
that
funny.
is yes, that's my first
See, I'm
kiss
trying to think
story.
about who it do I know who it was?
Just wait, Casey, your audio is going out a little
Oh,
bit.
my audio is going out a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it, like, robotic?
Yeah.
Okay, hold up one sec.
Okay. Sorry if you just heard my dad
Okay, is that
sneeze.
better?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my dad just had a sneeze attack.
Oh, no, I didn't hear it, so
I hope it was a big time.
no, I didn't hear it.
Okay, good.
No, I was asking you before my audio got weird, like, do I know who you're talking about?
Yes.
I do. Okay, well, we're gonna have to chat about that after we're
Yeah.
done recording because I am so confused.
Yeah, no.
That is a hilarious story.
It was a good
I
time.
love it. That's really funny. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But on the topic of, all of our cheesy love stories, all of our happy love stories, all of our, um, rants about the misinterpretation of love, how do you stay in touch with yourself and be content with loving yourself, Casey?
Um, that is a great question. I think it's changed a lot over the years because my definition of, like, how to love people and myself has changed a lot as I've gotten older.
Yeah, yeah.
This kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about last episode, which was about rewarding yourself with things, even if you feel like you don't deserve it. And the way that I love myself is just to make sure I feel fulfilled because, with a lot of us who are in our 20s, we might still be in school or working a lot, and it's easy to like lose the things that you enjoy. So I make time to read. I like to study Spanish. So I take time to use like Duolingo or whatever. I like to um, watch really bad TV and critique it.
Me
I talk to myself
too.
when I watch TV. So those are some of the ways that I take care of myself and love myself. I just let myself like fully enjoy the things that I want to enjoy without any guilt, and it just makes me feel pretty good. So.
Yes, I agree completely. Um, and I feel like too, for me, I really stopped um making um I stopped like always trying to prove myself and like to myself. Like
Mhm.
for a while, this is pretty specific, but like in the me expressing myself kind of aspect, I was kind of trapped in a bubble for a long time and I felt like I couldn't leave that specific bubble, whether that meant how I like how I would stand in front of people and how I would um like perceive myself to other people and all of those kinds of things. And I feel like once I stopped doing that and just let myself be, that's when I found a lot of confidence and love within myself for what I had, you know? Like, for example, I used to only dress feminine. Like, I was strictly dressing feminine, but a part of me felt like I wanted more and I wanted to like love myself more,
Mhm.
because I was very like not necessarily uncomfortable in what I was um showing myself as, but I wasn't there was something lacking, you know? Um and I played around. Like I got out of my comfort zone and I started um dressing how I wanted to dress, whether I thought I was looking snazzy or if I was just comfy. And even though I felt like I looked kind of dumpy, then it was whatever. But another thing is like I started getting more comfortable in whatever I was doing and whatever I was wearing. And I also just like tried to eliminate all those fears because for me it was like, oh, like I don't want to look too gay or I don't want to look, or the other part of me was like, oh, I don't look gay enough. But now that I kind of switch back and forth between femme and mask, like I found like that love within myself and also being able to like show myself the way I want to, like just you get that love back from other people seeing you radiate and stuff like that, you know?
Is absolutely true, and having known you for so long, I can say that I've definitely seen that transition, and it is noticeable to other people, like, when you treat yourself a certain way, it's noticeable to other people, so I have been able to see you, like, with the change in, like, your makeup and your hair and your clothes, like, I could see, like, the confidence grow and, like, the self-love grow, so that is absolutely true, and I really like your idea of, like, experimenting to see what you like because you're never gonna know what you need to make yourself feel loved until
Mhm.
you try it out.
Yes, and I feel like it's so I said this the other day to my friend who was having a hard time, like, if you don't love yourself, no one else will. Like,
Mhm.
you gotta love yourself and prioritize yourself, and then that's when everything that you're looking for will come straight to you. Like, it's just that, like, balance, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's a balance.
Yeah, it is a balance, and I think that, like, what you're saying is true, but, like, on the other hand, it is okay to sometimes be lacking in self-love or self-confidence. Like, obviously, you wanna get that back, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
but, like, even if you, at the moment, don't love yourself for whatever reason, also know that, like, other people aren't gonna hate you for that. Like, people are still gonna love
Oh,
you
yeah,
regardless, and you have to let yourself be loved too.
yeah, and I didn't mean that in a
Oh,
negative
no,
way.
I
Yeah, no, but
totally
I
understand what you were
appreciate you
saying.
backing it up.
Yes, no problem.
Yes,
I no,
yeah,
I understood what you're saying. I just wanted to clarify for you
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely part of loving yourself is letting other people love you too.
Yes, that's very true.
And like
Letting
let
people
yourself right, let yourself be supported, let other people in to help you out when you're feeling low. Cuz again, like we said at the beginning of the episode, it's really important to make connections and like let other people know how you like to be loved and, accept the love that other people are giving to you even if it's not entirely the way that you want to be loved, still appreciating that.
Mhm.
Um and, just it's definitely something that you have to work at. It does not
Oh,
happen
yeah.
overnight at all.
Yeah,
Like,
it took me
um
21 years to get to where I am, and most of the work happened in this last year. So
yes,
so I
same.
feel like
I
it's always evolving and changing and growing. I feel like no
same.
matter how old you are, you will learn to love and grow in different ways,
Mhm.
and that's okay. That's
Yeah,
completely
and I
okay.
I wanted to go back and touch on your, like, physical appearance, part of loving yourself as well
Mm,
because, when I was, a sophomore, I think, in high school is when I, like, shaved my head.
mhm.
And started out, growing out my natural hair, and let me
Oh,
tell you, the confidence that came from that. Like, of
yeah.
course, I still, like, even now, because 'cause I've been natural for, like, 6 years maybe now, of
Wow.
course, there are days when I despise my hair because it's just being difficult, depending on, like, the weather or what products I'm using in it, but, like,
Mhm.
sometimes I hate my hair, and that's okay, I have those days,
Yeah,
but, it definitely has improved how I feel about myself, like, I look the way I wanna look, and I'm not looking away, for other people to get approval from other people, so I
yeah,
did that for
yeah.
myself, and it made me feel a lot better. So don't underestimate, how physical changes can affect your self-love as well.
Yes, literally, Casey just sharing and, like, reliving that experience gave me goosebumps because I remember just, like, how different you held yourself after you finally did what you had
Yeah.
been wanting to do for years and years and years and
Mhm.
finally gained the courage to do it, like, it
Right,
was
and cutting your hair, like, completely shaving your head is no joke. It is
no,
really hard. I was
it's
really
a
emotional when I cut my
commitment.
hair. I
Yes.
definitely cried when I cut my hair, but then I was like, "Oh, shoot, I look good." So, like,
Yes,
alright.
yes, yes,
Um,
it was
but for
amazing.
sure, like, it definitely like, your outward appearance isn't everything, obviously, but it does improve how you hold yourself, especially if you're doing it the way you want, but again, experimenting with that is okay too.
Absolutely,
Mhm. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so I don't know, I think we covered a lot of good stuff in this episode.
Yeah, me too, I agree.
And
I
if
think
there's,
that
like, it's something that you think that maybe we missed or we should talk about in a later episode, maybe something to elaborate, like, put it in the comments or, like, DM one of us and we'll, like, add it to our list of things to talk about or things to revisit on social media. Because it's definitely a topic
yes,
that, like, is really important, to talk about. Not that the other things we have talked about so far aren't, but, I feel like love is kind of essential to being human, so,
yeah, it's a big
um
one, it's a big one.
for sure.
Yeah,
So
and also I wanted to let you guys know that we do engage a lot on our social medias, and we will be asking you guys questions, And if you would like to participate in any of that, we will have our socials down below. And we would love to have a comment from you on YouTube as well. We both are on there.
Okay, well, I guess if neither of us have anything else to say, this wraps up this episode. Let me see. Let me double check the calendar. Our next episode will be out in March, which it's crazy that it's going to be March already. But that'll be out on March 6th. So you should subscribe to the YouTube channel and put notifications on so that you're ready for when that one comes out.
Yes, and we are so excited to hear from you until then, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye. Guys.
Bye.